All right, let's dive right in. We're going to look under the hood of the human mind, use some powerful tools from psychoanalysis to figure out what really makes us tick. What's the engine driving all of our desires?
Okay, so let's start with something kind of fun. A classic debate, right? Are you a Beatles person or a Rolling Stones person? Now you might think, hey, that's just music taste, but stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see how your answer actually taps into these two huge fundamental forces that are basically running your entire life.
So here's how we're going to break this down. We're going to walk through 5 key ideas. First, we'll look at the fuel for our desire. Then, the scenery, where it all happens. After that, the 2 possible destinations it can lead to, how we navigate those paths, and finally, what it really means to awaken from the whole thing.
All right, first things first. What's the fuel in our engine? For centuries, the answer was simple. Instinct, right? The same thing that makes a lion hunt or a bird build a nest. But then, Sigmund Freud comes along and says, nope, not quite. He proposed something totally different, something that's uniquely human.
With an animal, instinct is a pretty simple loop. It gets hungry, it eats, and bam, it's satisfied. The need is met, problem solved. But us, we've got something else going on. Freud called it drive, or pulsion. It's this relentless, constant pressure from within. It's kind of like being stuck on a psychic treadmill that you can't get off of. And its goal isn't just survival. It's this endless churning search for a kind of satisfaction that, never really gets quiet.
And this is the really revolutionary part. Freud basically cut the cord between this drive and any biological purpose. It's not about making babies. It's not about survival. Our drive is this restless, almost aimless pursuit of satisfaction just for the sake of it. Think of it like a machine that's just running to run. And that idea, it completely flips the script on how we think about what motivates us as human beings.
Okay, so if drive is our engine just constantly running, what's the road it's driving on? Well, in psychoanalysis, that road has a name, fantasy. And let's be clear, we're not talking about daydreaming about winning the lottery here. It's something much, much deeper. It's the very lens through which you see everything.
The best way to think about it is like this. Your personal fantasy is the movie screen that your entire world is projected onto. It's not an escape from reality. For you, it is reality. It's the unconscious script that's running in the background, telling you what's important, what to brush off, and, this is the big one, what you're supposed to desire in the first place.
And right at the heart of this fantasy, the thing that's making the whole movie run, is something the psychoanalyst Jacques Lacan called object A. Now, this is a tricky concept, but here's the key. It's not the thing you want. It's the reason you want things at all. It's this fundamental lack, like a little void or a hole inside of us. It's like the ghost of some original, perfect satisfaction that we lost a long, long time ago. That first connection. And we spend the rest of our lives chasing its echo in everything we do.
So we've got this engine, the drive, running on this road, our fantasy. But where is it going? Well, it turns out there are 2 very different destinations. One is all about comfort and stability. The other, it's about pushing the limits.
On the one hand, you've got what's called the pleasure principle. Just think of it like your soul's thermostat. Its only job is to keep things stable, comfortable, keep the stress levels down. But then there's this other thing, a French term Lacan brought into the mix, jouissance. And this is not your everyday gentle pleasure. Jouissance is an excessive, shattering kind of satisfaction. It's a thrill so intense that it actually borders on pain. It's a too muchness.
Okay, so let's go back to that question from the beginning. The Beatles or the Stones? Well, the Beatles, they are the absolute poster children for the pleasure principle. All those harmonious melodies, lyrics about holding hands, it's all about finding love, stability, a sense of wholeness with someone else. It's comfortable, it's safe, it's literally all you need is love.
And then you have the Rolling Stones. They are the roaring soundtrack of jouissance. Think about it. Their most famous line isn't, "I finally found satisfaction," it's, "I can't get no satisfaction." It's this incredible howl of glorious frustration. That's the sound of a relentless, insatiable drive, a search for a thrill that's exciting precisely because you can never quite get it. It's a drive that just wants more and more and more.
But if you want to see this excessive drive in its purest, maybe even its most terrifying form, we have to move beyond music. I want you to picture the T-1000 from Terminator 2. The liquid metal guy? He is a perfect, chilling metaphor for what Freud eventually called the death drive.
Seriously, think about him. He's relentless, indestructible, a force that absolutely cannot be satisfied. He doesn't operate on pleasure or pain. He's just this inhuman mechanical repetition. And that is exactly what the death drive is, which, by the way, Lacan basically said was the very core of jouissance. It's this part of us that just pushes forward no matter what, always trying to get back to this quiet state of nothingness, a 0 point, even though it can never quite get there.
Okay, so we've got these incredibly powerful, maybe even destructive forces churning inside us. So the big question is, how on earth do we live with them? Well, this is where two of our most powerful human inventions come into play to basically save the day: love and storytelling.
Lacan had this beautiful, if a little dense, way of putting it. He basically said that love is the only thing that can tame that raw, wild, destructive jouissance. See, love doesn't get rid of that energy. What it does is it gives it a name, a face, a direction. It takes this limitless, chaotic force and channels it into something we can actually manage, something we call desire.
The ancient tale of Scheherazade is the absolute perfect example of this. You've got the Sultan, right? He's trapped in this horrifying loop of pure jouissance: possess, destroy, repeat. A new bride every night. Now Scheherazade, she's smart. She doesn't fight him with a sword. She fights him with a story. And by stopping each story right at the cliffhanger, she does something absolutely genius. She introduces lack. She makes him want something. He wants to know what happens next. And in that space of wanting, she transforms his raw, deadly drive into a sustained human desire. And, well, that desire eventually turns into love.
And this points to a crazy paradox at the heart of being human, doesn't it? Our desire doesn't thrive on getting things, it thrives on not having them yet. We are creatures of the chase, not the capture. It's exactly what the artist Jenny Holzer was getting at with that famous line, "Protect me from what I want." Because think about it, getting exactly what you want can be the most dangerous thing in the world. The moment you have it, poof, the desire that made you feel so alive is gone.
So what does this all leave us? If getting what we want isn't really the answer, then what is? Well, according to psychoanalysis, the ultimate goal isn't to finally satisfy all your desires. It's to wake up from them.
You know, throughout history, humanity's gotten a few major reality checks. Freud called them narcissistic blows, these huge awakenings that just shatter our cozy illusions about ourselves. First, Copernicus comes along and says, guys, you're not the center of the universe. Then, Darwin shows up and says, and by the way, you're not so different from the animals. And then Freud delivers the final punch. Yeah, and you're not even the master of your own mind. And that brings us to the end game here. Real freedom, real insight, it doesn't come from finally getting that thing, that job, that person, that whatever that your fantasy tells you will make you whole. No, it comes from understanding why you're so obsessed with it in the first place. It's about seeing the frame around the picture, not just the picture itself. Lacan called it traversing the fantasy. And what it means, really, is to finally be able to read that unconscious script that's been running your whole life. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Our fantasy, this window we look through, it gives our world meaning. It tells us what to want. But it's also a defense mechanism. It's a screen. So the real question is, what is it protecting us from? What raw, maybe unsettling truth about ourselves and about reality itself is waiting for us just on the other side of that frame?